Notice how some women leave a lasting impression long after a relationship ends? It's not always because of beauty, status, or even the amount of time they spent together. The truth is, people remember how someone made them feel. A woman who knows her worth, carries herself with confidence, and creates genuine emotional connection often becomes unforgettable. Many women believe that holding on tighter will make someone stay. But real connection doesn't come from chasing. It comes from self-respect, emotional maturity, and the ability to inspire growth in both yourself and the person you're with. When a woman understands these qualities, she naturally becomes someone whose presence is deeply valued and often missed. One of the biggest mistakes many women make in relationships is slowly giving up the things that once made them unique. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small compromises. A hobby gets pushed aside. Personal goals are delayed. Time with friends becomes less important. Dreams that once felt exciting are placed on hold because the relationship begins to take up all the emotional space. At first, it feels like love. It feels like dedication. It feels like doing everything possible to make the relationship work. But over time, something important begins to disappear. The woman herself. A healthy relationship should add to your life, not become your entire life. The strongest women understand this truth. They know that while love is important, their identity matters too. They continue growing, learning, exploring, and becoming better versions of themselves regardless of who is standing beside them. They don't stop being who they are just because they are in love. In fact, they become even more committed to their own growth. There is something incredibly powerful about a woman who has her own purpose. When she wakes up every morning excited about her goals, her passions, and her future, she carries a different kind of energy. She doesn't need someone else to create happiness for her because she is already building a life that fulfills her. That confidence shows in the way she speaks, the way she walks, and the way she handles challenges. People notice it without her having to say a word. Many women are taught that keeping a relationship means constantly proving their love. They believe they must always be available, always sacrifice, always put themselves last. But relationships built on self-abandonment often create imbalance. When one person continuously gives up pieces of themselves, resentment eventually finds its way into the connection. The woman may look happy on the outside, but deep inside she begins to feel disconnected from the person she used to be. The truth is that people are often drawn to the qualities that existed before the relationship began. They are attracted to the confidence, independence, ambition, kindness, creativity, and passion they see in someone. Yet once the relationship starts, many women unintentionally place those very qualities on the shelf. They become so focused on maintaining the relationship that they stop investing in themselves. Over time, the energy that once made them shine becomes harder to see. A woman who keeps her identity understands that love should never require her to shrink. She continues reading books that inspire her. She pursues career goals that challenge her. She spends time with people who support her growth. She explores new experiences and continues discovering who she is. Her world remains full, not because she loves her partner less, but because she loves herself enough to keep growing. This kind of self-respect creates a powerful foundation. It prevents her from making decisions out of fear. She doesn't stay in unhealthy situations because she is afraid of being alone. She doesn't tolerate disrespect just to keep someone around. She knows that losing herself would be a far greater loss than losing a relationship. That understanding changes everything. There's also a deeper emotional reason why maintaining your identity matters. When your entire sense of happiness depends on one person, every disagreement feels like a crisis. Every moment of distance feels threatening. Every change in their mood affects your emotional state. That's an exhausting way to live. But when you have your own purpose, your own goals, and your own sense of fulfillment, you approach relationships from a place of strength rather than fear. You begin to love freely instead of desperately. You appreciate the relationship without making it responsible for your entire happiness. You stop expecting another person to complete you because you are already complete within yourself. This creates healthier connections because both people are choosing each other rather than depending on each other for their identity. Strong women understand that personal growth never stops. Every year brings new lessons, new opportunities, and new versions of themselves waiting to be discovered. They don't allow relationships to become a reason for stagnation. Instead, they use relationships as a place where growth can be shared and supported. They celebrate their partner's success while continuing to pursue their own. What makes a woman unforgettable isn't perfection. It's authenticity. It's the courage to remain true to herself no matter what season of life she's in. She knows what matters to her. She knows what she believes. She knows what kind of future she wants to create. And she refuses to abandon those things simply to gain approval or avoid disappointment. When a woman maintains her identity, she sends a clear message to the world and to herself. She says, "My dreams matter. My happiness matters. My growth matters." That message isn't selfish. It's healthy. It reflects a deep understanding that the relationship she has with herself sets the tone for every other relationship in her life. Years from now, people may forget specific conversations or particular moments, but they rarely forget someone who was fully herself. They remember the woman who walked confidently in her purpose. They remember the woman who continued chasing her goals despite obstacles. They remember the woman who loved deeply without losing her individuality. That kind of woman leaves an impression because she reminds others of something important. Real love should never require you to disappear. The right relationship will give you room to grow, room to dream, and room to become everything you were created to be. And when a woman understands that truth, she becomes stronger, happier, and far more valuable than she ever realized. In every relationship, challenges are inevitable. No two people can spend enough time together without facing disagreements, misunderstandings, or moments of frustration. The difference between a relationship that grows stronger and one that slowly falls apart often comes down to how those difficult moments are handled. One of the most valuable qualities a woman can possess is the ability to bring peace into a relationship rather than adding unnecessary drama to it. Peace is often misunderstood. Many people think peace means avoiding problems or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. True peace has nothing to do with silence or suppression. It comes from emotional maturity. It comes from knowing how to communicate honestly without creating unnecessary conflict. It means addressing issues with wisdom instead of reacting with anger every time emotions run high. Life is already full of pressure. People deal with responsibilities, financial concerns, family expectations, career challenges, and personal struggles every day. When someone comes home or reaches out to the person they love, they naturally want to feel understood, respected, and emotionally safe. A woman who can create that sense of emotional safety becomes someone people deeply appreciate. This doesn't mean she never gets upset. It doesn't mean she accepts poor treatment or ignores her feelings. It simply means she knows how to express herself in a way that leads to solutions rather than destruction. She understands that winning an argument is not the same as strengthening a relationship. Sometimes the goal should not be proving who is right, but understanding what is causing the problem in the first place. Many conflicts become bigger than they need to be because emotions take control before communication begins. A small misunderstanding can turn into a major argument when assumptions replace conversations. A delayed text message becomes evidence of a lack of care. A forgotten promise becomes proof that someone doesn't value the relationship. Before long, both people are defending themselves instead of listening to each other. A woman who brings peace approaches situations differently. She asks questions before making accusations. She seeks understanding before reaching conclusions. She gives space for explanation rather than immediately assuming the worst. This approach doesn't make her weak. In fact, it requires tremendous strength. Anyone can react emotionally in the heat of the moment. It takes wisdom to remain composed when emotions are demanding immediate action. There is something powerful about being with someone who knows how to manage their emotions responsibly. It creates trust. It creates stability. It allows both people to feel secure enough to be honest about their fears, mistakes, and vulnerabilities. When emotional safety exists, communication becomes easier. Problems get solved faster because both people feel heard rather than attacked. Drama often thrives where insecurity lives. When people constantly seek reassurance, test loyalty, create unnecessary jealousy, or turn every disagreement into a major crisis, relationships become emotionally exhausting. Over time, that exhaustion takes a toll. People may still care about each other, but the constant emotional turbulence leaves them drained. Peace, on the other hand, creates room for connection. It allows love to breathe. It gives both people the freedom to be themselves without constantly feeling like they are walking on eggshells. A peaceful relationship doesn't mean there are no problems. It means the problems are handled with respect, patience, and maturity. One of the most attractive qualities in any person is emotional control. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means understanding them. A woman who recognizes her feelings without allowing them to control every decision develops a level of confidence that stands out. She doesn't need to raise her voice to be heard. She doesn't need to create scenes to get attention. She communicates clearly and directly because she trusts her own value. Another important part of creating peace is learning to let go of things that don't truly matter. Not every disagreement deserves a battle. Not every mistake needs to become a permanent issue. Holding on to every disappointment, every misunderstanding, and every past mistake creates emotional clutter that eventually overwhelms a relationship. Forgiveness plays a major role in maintaining peace. Forgiveness does not mean accepting repeated disrespect or allowing harmful behavior to continue. It means refusing to carry unnecessary emotional weight. It means understanding that everyone makes mistakes and that healthy relationships require grace as well as accountability. A woman who brings peace also understands the importance of timing. She knows that difficult conversations are more productive when both people are calm. She doesn't use moments of vulnerability as opportunities to attack. Instead, she chooses communication that encourages openness and honesty. People often remember how someone made them feel more than they remember specific events. Long after arguments are forgotten, the emotional atmosphere of a relationship remains in memory. A woman who consistently creates an environment of understanding, support, and emotional stability leaves a lasting impact because she provides something that is increasingly rare in today's world: genuine peace. That peace becomes a refuge during difficult seasons of life. It becomes a source of strength when challenges arise. It becomes a reminder that love is not supposed to feel like a constant battlefield. Love should feel like a partnership where both people are working together against problems rather than against each other. The reality is that everyone wants to feel accepted, respected, and emotionally safe. When a woman develops the ability to communicate with wisdom, manage conflict with maturity, and create stability during difficult moments, she becomes someone whose presence is deeply valued. Her peace is not accidental. It is built through self-awareness, patience, emotional intelligence, and a commitment to growth. And that kind of peace has the power to strengthen relationships in ways that endless arguments and emotional chaos never could. One of the most powerful qualities a woman can develop is knowing her value without needing constant confirmation from others. In a world where attention is often mistaken for love and validation is confused with self-worth, many people fall into the trap of measuring their value by how much someone else chooses them, texts them, compliments them, or pursues them. But true confidence is built on something much deeper. It comes from understanding who you are, what you bring to the table, and why your worth exists independently of anyone else's opinion. Many Many women spend years trying to earn love by overgiving. They believe that if they do enough, sacrifice enough, or prove themselves enough, they will finally be appreciated. They become experts at putting other people's needs first while quietly neglecting their own. They answer every call, solve every problem, make endless excuses for poor behavior, and continue showing up even when their efforts are rarely returned. At first, this may feel like devotion, but over time, it often turns into emotional exhaustion. The problem with constantly seeking validation is that it places your happiness in someone else's hands. Your mood depends on their attention. Your confidence rises when they praise you and falls when they become distant. You begin living on an emotional roller coaster controlled by another person's actions. That is not confidence. That is dependency disguised as love. A woman who truly knows her value operates differently. She understands that her worth was never something another person had the power to give her. Therefore, it is not something they can take away. Whether someone recognizes her value or not does not change the fact that it exists. She doesn't wake up every morning wondering if she is enough. She has already settled that question within herself. This kind of confidence changes the way she approaches relationships. She no longer feels the need to chase people who show little interest. She doesn't spend weeks trying to convince someone to see her importance. She doesn't beg for attention, affection, commitment, or respect. She understands a simple truth. Anything that has to be forced rarely becomes healthy. When someone constantly has to ask for the bare minimum, they eventually begin questioning their own worth. But a woman who values herself understands that respect should not require negotiation. Communication should not feel like a battle. Appreciation should not feel like a rare reward given only after endless effort. She knows that healthy relationships involve mutual investment. This doesn't mean she becomes cold or emotionally unavailable. It doesn't mean she stops caring. It means she learns the difference between pursuing a healthy connection and chasing someone who is unwilling to meet her halfway. She gives love freely, but she does not sacrifice her dignity to receive it. There is a quiet strength in walking away from situations that no longer align with your value. Many people stay where they are tolerated because they fear being alone. They remain in one-sided relationships because uncertainty feels more frightening than disappointment. They continue accepting less than they deserve because they hope things will eventually change. A woman who knows her worth understands that loneliness and self-betrayal are not the same thing. She would rather spend time alone than continuously abandon herself for the comfort of keeping someone around. She recognizes that every time she accepts behavior that violates her standards, she sends a message to herself about what she believes she deserves. Self-worth is reflected in the boundaries a person sets. Boundaries are not walls designed to keep people out. They are standards that protect emotional well-being. A confident woman knows how to say no when necessary. She knows how to protect her peace without feeling guilty. She understands that healthy boundaries teach others how to treat her. Many people fear boundaries because they worry they will push others away. But the truth is that boundaries do not drive away the right people. They simply reveal who respects you and who only benefits when you have none. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your needs, your time, and your emotional health. Knowing your value also means refusing to compare yourself constantly to others. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to weaken confidence. There will always be someone who looks different, earns more, has a different lifestyle, or receives more attention. But confidence grows when you stop measuring yourself against everyone else and start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. A woman who understands her worth celebrates her own journey. She appreciates her strengths while continuing to work on her weaknesses. She doesn't need to compete with every woman she meets because she understands that another person's success does not diminish her own value. She is secure enough to admire others without doubting herself. One of the most attractive things about genuine confidence is that it creates emotional stability. People feel comfortable around someone who is secure in who they are. There is no constant need for reassurance, no endless search for approval, and no pressure to fill emotional voids that only self-love can heal. That confidence becomes magnetic because it is rooted in authenticity rather than performance. The woman who knows her value understands that she is not defined by a relationship status, a title, or another person's opinion. She is defined by her character, her growth, her resilience, and the way she continues to rise after challenges. She respects herself enough to walk away from what diminishes her and move toward what nourishes her. At the end of the day, confidence is not about believing you are better than anyone else. It is about recognizing that your worth is not up for debate. It is understanding that you deserve honesty, respect, effort, and care without having to beg for them. When a woman reaches that level of self-awareness, she stops chasing validation and starts attracting healthier connections. She no longer seeks permission to feel valuable because she already knows she is. And that quiet certainty becomes one of the most powerful things about her. The most memorable people are not always the richest, the most attractive, or the most successful. Often, they are the ones who leave a positive mark on the lives of others. Years after a relationship, friendship, or even a brief connection ends, people may struggle to remember every conversation or every detail. But they rarely forget someone who genuinely helped them become a better version of themselves. A woman who leaves people better than she found them possesses a kind of influence that goes far beyond temporary attraction. Her impact stays with people long after her presence is gone. Many people enter relationships focused on what they can receive. They look for attention, affection, support, security, or validation. While there is nothing wrong with wanting these things, truly meaningful relationships are built when both people also think about what they can contribute. A woman who leaves people better than she found them understands that her presence has power. She recognizes that the way she speaks, encourages, supports, and inspires others can shape someone's confidence, mindset, and future. This doesn't mean she tries to fix everyone she meets. It doesn't mean she takes responsibility for solving other people's problems or carrying their burdens. Instead, she understands the difference between helping someone grow and trying to rescue them. She offers support without losing herself. She encourages without controlling. She believes in people while still allowing them to take responsibility for their own choices. One of the greatest gifts a person can offer is encouragement. Many individuals go through life carrying doubts they never talk about. They question whether they are capable enough, smart enough, strong enough, or worthy enough. Sometimes all it takes is one person believing in them during a difficult season to change the direction of their life. A woman who consistently speaks life into others becomes unforgettable because she helps people see possibilities they may have overlooked. There's something powerful about being around someone who reminds you of your potential instead of constantly focusing on your flaws. While many people criticize, judge, or tear others down, a woman who inspires growth chooses a different path. She sees strengths where others see weaknesses. She notices progress when others focus only on mistakes. She helps people recognize qualities within themselves that they may have forgotten. Her influence often comes through simple actions rather than grand gestures. It might be a conversation that provides clarity during a confusing time. It might be words of encouragement when someone feels ready to quit. It might be her example of resilience during adversity that inspires others to keep moving forward. Often, the moments that change people's lives seem small at the time, but their impact grows over the years. Kindness plays a major role in this kind of influence. Genuine kindness is not about being passive or allowing others to take advantage of you. It is about treating people with dignity and respect, regardless of what you gain in return. A woman who leads with kindness creates an environment where others feel valued and accepted. People naturally remember those who made them feel seen, heard, and appreciated. In a world where many interactions feel rushed and transactional, authentic care stands out. When someone feels that you genuinely care about their well-being, they never forget it. Even if life takes them in different directions, the memory of that care remains. The emotional impact of feeling supported during a difficult season often lasts much longer than material gifts or temporary pleasures. A woman who leaves people better than she found them also understands the importance of leading by example. She doesn't simply talk about growth, she pursues it herself. She continues learning, improving, and becoming stronger through life's challenges. Her actions inspire because they demonstrate what is possible. People are often more influenced by what they see than by what they hear. When others watch her overcome obstacles with grace, maintain integrity during difficult circumstances, and continue moving forward despite setbacks, they gain confidence in their own ability to do the same. Her life becomes evidence that growth is possible, even when circumstances are far from perfect. Another reason this kind of woman leaves a lasting impression is that she does not compete with everyone around her. She celebrates the success of others. She supports people without feeling threatened by their achievements. She understands that lifting others up does not diminish her own value. This mindset creates healthy relationships because it is built on abundance rather than insecurity. People are drawn to those who make them feel stronger, wiser, and more capable. They naturally appreciate relationships that contribute to their growth rather than draining their energy. A woman who consistently adds value to the lives of others becomes someone people respect deeply because her presence makes a positive difference. This kind of impact is especially powerful because it extends beyond the relationship itself. The confidence she helps build in someone may improve future relationships. The encouragement she offers may inspire someone to pursue a dream they once abandoned. The wisdom she shares may help another person navigate challenges years later. In this way, her influence continues long after the original interaction ends. Of course, leaving people better than you found them does not require perfection. No one always says the right thing or handles every situation flawlessly. What matters is the intention behind your actions. It is the commitment to bring more kindness, understanding, encouragement, and positivity into the lives of those around you. At the end of the day, people may forget many things, but they rarely forget how someone made them feel. They remember the person who believed in them when their confidence was low. They remember the person who encouraged them when they wanted to give up. They remember the person whose presence brought light into difficult moments. A woman who leaves people better than she found them creates a legacy that extends far beyond attraction or romance. She becomes unforgettable because her impact continues to grow.